In a world ruled by noise and distraction, there exists a code not written in words, but in flame. A flame that does not roar, it whispers. A truth that does not shout, it waits. Hidden deep within the veils of forgotten temples and sealed manuscripts, this codex has remained untouched, until now. You did not find this book by chance. The flame found you, and now, it begins to speak. Not to your ears, but to the silent knowing within you. This is not a teaching. This is an awakening. Welcome to the codex of the silent flame. Let what was once hidden now rise through your spirit and light the forgotten chambers within. Chapter 1. The Silent Flame Within. There is a fire that does not burn the flesh. It burns illusions. You have not come here by accident. There is a reason these words found you, though your conscious mind may not yet grasp it. There is a code pulsing beneath each sentence, a rhythm woven from something older than speech, older even than stars. This is not a teaching. This is a remembrance. And what you are remembering is the flame. It lives within you, not as metaphor, not as myth, but as a vibrational truth that has followed you through every incarnation, every lifetime, every moment of breaking and blooming. The ancients never gave it a name, because names limit, names trap, but they knew it by what it did. It dissolved illusions. It shattered masks. It carved truth into the soul like lightning into sky. You may have touched it before, in moments you did not recognize for what they were. A glance from a stranger that stirred something wordless. A dream that stayed with you longer than it should have. A silence that wrapped itself around you in a way no voice ever could. The pain that broke you and built you at once. These were not random. They were signs, fragments, refractions of the flame, the memory beneath the mind. You believe your thoughts make you. But your mind is a mirror, and beneath that mirror is water. And water remembers. You carry memories your brain cannot access. They live in your bones, in the pattern of your breath, in the emotions that arise when no one is watching. The silent flame lives there, too, in the forgotten, in the hidden, in the soft space between your exhale and the next moment. It does not rise for the proud. It does not answer to force. It only flickers where there is space. That's why so many never feel it. Their lives are filled with noise, motion, masks, and plans. But the ones who pause, the ones who sit in the dark long enough to feel their own pulse returning to the earth, they begin to sense it. A warmth without heat, a whisper without sound, a knowing that arrives with no words, yet cannot be denied. The ones who remember. Not everyone is called to this. Even fewer are ready, but if you've made it this far, if your heart still beats slowly enough to listen, then the flame has chosen to rise in you. You are a rememberer. You did not come here to gather more beliefs. You came to burn away the ones that were never yours. You came to stop being what the world taught you to be, and to become once again what you already are, a living portal of consciousness wrapped in form, moving through illusion, awakening slowly with every breath. The flame is not a tool. It cannot be used. It cannot be controlled. It is. And it will not fit inside the cages of your mind. If you demand proof, it will vanish. If you try to explain it, it will grow silent. But if you bow, not in weakness, but in sacred surrender, it will rise. It always does. The sacred misalignment. Before it comes, there is often chaos. You may think your life is falling apart. You may feel abandoned, uncertain, lost. But the flame works in misalignment. It shakes foundations. It breaks false structures. It pulls everything down that you built on sand. Not to punish, to clear. Clearing is sacred. Loss is often alignment in disguise. You asked for awakening, and the flame answered, not with comfort, but with fire. You prayed for truth, and truth shattered everything you were clinging to. This is the price of becoming real. And it is worth it. The language of the flame. Words are too small. They cannot hold this. But the flame speaks in symbols, through dreams, signs, feelings, through synchronicities that seem like chance, through numbers that repeat, through people who arrive at just the right moment to trigger you or heal you or both. The flame uses everything. Because everything is connected, there is no waste in the architecture of the cosmos. Even your pain has purpose. Even your delay was part of the design. You think you are off course. But the course was always meant to bend, to curve, to drop you into silence so you would finally remember how to listen. Listening without ears. The flame will not speak to your ears. It speaks through vibration, subtle, steady, sacred. You must learn to feel what you cannot hear. You must learn to know without explanation. This is not fantasy. This is your deeper faculty awakening. Your ancestors knew this. Not in textbooks, but in temples of stone and stillness. They knew how to read the sky, the earth, the breath of trees. They lived by resonance, not reasoning. And now, so must you. Because this flame is not here to entertain your intellect. It is here to initiate your being. Let it guide you to the self beneath the mask. That is the first gate. Beyond that gate, the journey begins. Not a journey outward, but inward. Not to become something new, but to return to something eternal. The flame is awake now. And so are you. This is only the beginning. Chapter 2, The Chamber of Forgotten Names. There is a room within you. You have not entered it yet, not fully, but you've sensed it, haven't you? A faint pressure behind your thoughts. A silence that waits behind every word. This chamber holds what the world has tried to erase. It holds what they told you to forget. It holds your names, not the ones written on paper, not the ones spoken by mouths that never saw you, but the names etched in the rhythm of your breath, the names you carried through lifetimes, the ones whispered in dreams and buried in the bones of stars. You were not meant to forget, but you did, not by failure, by design. The forgetting was part of the descent. You agreed to wear the veil, to step into density, to feel the ache of separation so that you might remember what union truly is. In this way, your forgetting was sacred, a necessary wound, a sleeping seed, and now you are being called to remember. But remembrance is not the same as knowledge. Knowledge is stored in books, spoken by teachers, repeated in schools. Remembrance arrives like thunder in the bones. It is not learned, it is unlocked, and it can only be unlocked by fire. The same flame that began to rise in chapter 1 now leads you here, to this inner threshold. The door is not outside you. It is the soft moment when you stop performing. It is the breath between identities. It is the stillness that falls when the masks grow too heavy to hold. Here, in this sacred pause, the chamber reveals itself. Dim at first, dust-covered, echoing with memories you do not understand. You may feel grief not of what was lost, but of what was hidden. Do not turn away. Let the grief rise. Let it speak. Because beneath the grief lives a song older than sound. The song of who you are. Do you know what lives in this chamber? Truths the world cannot see. Blueprints written before your birth. Not just your story, but your signature. Your frequency. Your original intention for coming here. You are not random. You are a ripple sent from source with direction. But the world offered noise instead of stillness. Labels instead of essence. You were told to be good. To be useful, to be acceptable, and so, you shaped yourself. You bent, you folded, you compressed the infinite into something palatable. But now, the old shape no longer fits. It itches, it burns, it breaks, because it was never yours to begin with. The chamber is calling you to remove it, to unpeel the layers of persona, to dissolve the stories you no longer believe in, to come home. But home is not a place. It is presence. It is the raw, trembling, naked you, stripped of approval, of image, of performance. It is terrifying, and it is beautiful. You are not alone here. There are others in the chamber with you. They do not speak with words. They speak through the resonance of memory. They are not ghosts. They are your mirrors, aspects of self once exiled. A child who learned to hide. A lover who never stopped waiting. A warrior who laid down their sword to remember softness. All of them are you. And they have waited long for your return. One by one, they come forward. Not to haunt you, but to rejoin you. Each one returns a piece of your power. Each one hands you a forgotten name. And with every name you reclaim, the chamber brightens. Glyphs on the wall begin to glow. Not with light, but with meaning. And you understand something wordless. You were never broken. You were simply divided. And now, you are gathering. Reweaving, reclaiming your wholeness. But wholeness does not mean comfort. It means honesty. It means sitting with the parts you abandoned. The parts the world taught you to judge. The softness you silenced. The rage you swallowed. The dreams you buried. You must bring them all here. You must let the chamber hold them. Not to fix them, but to see them. Because what is seen with love begins to heal. And in the chamber, love is not sentiment. It is a force, a presence, a flame. It consumes only what is false. It leaves behind only what is real. And then, in the stillest moment, you will hear it. A vibration beneath your ribs. A pulse beneath the silence. It is the sound of your soul remembering. A tone that echoes through dimensions. You've heard it in dreams. You've heard it in songs that made you cry without knowing why. You've heard it in silence. It is the note of your origin. the first sound that shaped you. And now, it is rising again. You are tuning to it, not by trying, but by surrendering. It is attuning you to the deeper field, the sacred architecture that lives beneath appearances. And once you begin to hear that note, you will hear it everywhere, in the wind, in the breath of trees, in the silence between words, in the people who speak not to your mind, but to your memory. These are your kin, not by blood, but by flame. Do not rush this chapter. The chamber unfolds in layers. Some doors will only open when you are ready to let go. You may feel disoriented. You may question everything. Good, that is the sign. Truth rarely arrives with comfort. It arrives like a rupture. And through that rupture, the flame pours in. It will burn what is false. And in the ashes, you will find your names. Not just one, many. Names that belong not to this lifetime alone, but to your essence across time. Each name is a vibration, a frequency, a spell you once cast in agreement with existence. You have spoken them before. And now, you speak them again. Silently, sacredly, within. And as you speak them, or rather, remember them, something shifts. The walls of the chamber grow transparent. You see through them, to the stars, the past, the possible. You are inside a living library. And you are both the reader and the book. This is why the flame brought you here. Not to gather new truths, but to reawaken ancient ones. To burn away what never belonged, so that what always did could rise. You will not leave this chapter with answers. You will leave it with something better. Alignment. A subtle shift. A return. A breath that feels more like you than any word ever could. This is the gift of the Chamber of Forgotten Names. It gives you back to yourself. Not all at once, but breath by breath, memory by memory, flame by flame. You are not finished. You are just beginning. The next chamber awaits. And it will open. When you do, the mirror appears. There is a mirror within the chamber. It does not reflect the face. It reflects the flame. It stands not upon the wall, but in the space between breaths. It shimmers like moonlight on still water, yet holds a gravity that pulls the soul inward. You did not summon it. It was always there, waiting, for the moment when your eyes would soften enough to truly see. This is not the mirror of the world. This is the mirror of the real. The first glimpse. You step before it, cautious, trembling, curious. The surface ripples, and then, images. A child hiding in a closet, clutching a broken toy. A teenager swallowing grief to make others comfortable. An adult smiling with eyes that scream. You see the versions of you that adapted to survive. And for the first time, you do not turn away. Distortions and doubles. The mirror begins to shift. It shows not only your pain, but your masks. The roles you played. The voices you borrowed. The lies you told yourself to belong. It is disorienting, like watching your reflection fragment and multiply. But beneath every mask is the same question. Who were you before you forgot? The unseen wounds. Now come the shadows. Not as monsters, but as echoes. Your mother's sadness in your smile. Your father's silence in your anger. Wounds passed down like heirlooms. The mirror does not judge. It reveals. And in the revealing, it begins to heal. The flame reacts. The flame within you stirs. It flares, not in rage, but in recognition. The more you see, the more it grows. It does not destroy the shadows. It wraps them in light. It welcomes them home, because nothing true is ever lost, only hidden. The invitation to witness. The mirror does not ask you to fix. It asks you to stay, to watch, to feel, to hold the trembling parts without shrinking, to sit in the sacred discomfort without reaching for escape. Because witnessing is alchemy, and your presence is the medicine. The sacred shame. Shame rises like smoke. Old decisions, unspoken regrets, hidden desires. They swirl around you, threatening to suffocate. But you do not run. You breathe. And as you breathe, the shame begins to dissolve. Because shame cannot survive the gaze of compassion. The soul remembers. Then something ancient stirs. A memory beyond memory. Lifetimes flicker behind your eyes. A vow whispered in a temple of stars. A promise made before form. You came here with purpose. And the mirror, in its silence, reminds you of what you are. The identity cracks. Your name begins to feel too small. Your story, too narrow. The scaffolding of self, carefully constructed, begins to creak. And then collapse. But you are not afraid. Because beneath the identity is essence. And essence does not break. The mirror merges. The mirror no longer stands before you. It flows into you. You become the reflection, the seer in the scene. The flame expands through your chest, your spine, your gaze. You are not watching the truth. You are becoming it. The flame expands. The chamber glows. Symbols ignite across the walls, ancient and alive. The flame is no longer a flicker. It is a beacon. It is memory, truth, love, all burning clean. You feel the pieces return. You are not alone in your skin anymore. You are complete. A new gaze. When you open your eyes, truly open them, the world has not changed. But your seeing has. You no longer look from the outside in. You gaze from the inside out. And what you see is sacred. This is not the end. This is the new beginning. The next chamber awaits. And it knows your name. Chapter 4, The Chamber of Becoming. The silence deepens. Not absence, but saturation, thick with knowing. You have passed through the mirror, through the crack, through the flame. Now you enter the chamber not as a question, but as the answer being formed. Here, the walls do not echo. They absorb every breath you've ever taken. Every choice, every fracture, every longing, presses gently against the stone, and the stone remembers. This is not a place of searching. This is a place of shaping. The chamber curves like a womb of light, but not the light of vision, the light of recognition. You stand at its center, bare not in body, but in meaning. All masks have melted. All roles have dissolved. What remains is essence, raw, radiant, and unfamiliar. You have never seen yourself like this. From the corners of the chamber, figures emerge, not beings, but blueprints. They are made of pattern and pulse, wearing no faces, only memory. They approach you without moving. They speak without words. They are the parts of you that waited in silence for permission to return. One holds a scroll, but it is not paper. It is made of you. Vertebra by vertebra, the scroll unrolls down your spine. Symbols ignite along each joint, glyphs of moments long buried, now returning home as design. Your skeleton becomes scripture. Your breath becomes the ink. Another figure brings thread, not ordinary thread, but the filament of paradox. They weave light through shadow, grief through joy, loss through love. The dualities you feared would destroy you are now the tension that gives you form. You realize, you were never meant to choose sides. You were meant to hold them. From deep within, your bloodstream begins to hum. Not with speed, but song. It is the song of lineage, not of blood, but of memory, those you do not remember, but who dreamed you into being. Each heartbeat now carries their rhythm. You are not alone. You never were. Your hands glow, not with fire, with function. Invisible tools form between your fingers, a compass made of insight, a chisel forged in silence, a hammer that strikes not stone, but self-deception. You begin to build, but not outwardly. The temple rises within. With each inhale, stone lays itself beneath your feet. With each exhale, arches rise above your head. You are not moving, yet the structure ascends. Each breath a blueprint, each pause a pillar. Your silence is sacred architecture. Then, a whisper, not from around you, from within. It is your name, not the one given at birth. The one etched before time. You do not hear it. You become it. It stretches through your ribs like light seeking its reflection in the dark. This name does not label. It liberates. In the center of the chamber, a mirror rises once more. But it no longer shows your face. It shows your structure, your ribs as cathedral beams. Your spine a ladder of ascent. Your gaze a torch passed through centuries. You realize, you are the temple, you are the priest, you are the flame. Above, in the unseen places, eyes that do not blink begin to close in reverence. They have watched your collapse. Now they witness your construction. And they bow, not in worship, but in recognition. You have joined the builders. You have re-entered the sacred trade. The walls of the chamber do not fall. They recede. What was boundary is now breath. What was enclosed is now endless. You walk forward not into another room, but into your own expansion. You are no longer a seeker. You are the place being sought. You place your hand over your chest. Not to check for heartbeat. To feel direction. The heart does not pull you toward a path. It opens the path wherever you walk. This is the way of becoming, not to find. To be. The flame no longer flickers. It no longer consumes. It inhabits, softly pulsing from your chest, your spine, your palms. It is not fire now. It is presence. The sacred does not need to shout. It simply remains. The chamber folds, not to vanish, but to root. It nests within your bones, settling in the marrow, waiting for its next breath, its next building, its next remembering. You carry it now, not like a burden, Like a key. You open your eyes, not to behold the world, to seed it. Everything appears the same, but you are the difference now. You do not just walk through the world. You shape it by how